Hey everyone, happy freaking New Year. Eric Watson here, freelance brother. Oh my goodness, let's start again. Hey everyone. Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of words, recorder of videos, and tabletop role-playing aficionado. It's been a hot second since I've done this, although we just did a crafting stream on Monday, but it was technically for crafting Dragonlance. Welcome to my behind-the-scenes DMly live stream, Crafting the Golden Vault, in which I build, write, and prepare for our next session of Keys from the Golden Vault. If you are playing characters Cherie, Eloise, Daisy, Tavine, or Vero, you've stumbled upon the wrong stream in the wrong day, because there will be spoilers, but the rest of you are always welcome. We stream our D&D sessions live on YouTube every Friday. Once again, we just had a break from that. You can join our official Discord server with the invite link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out patreon.com/RogueWatson. You can also support the channel by shopping for your tabletop games, CCGs, miniatures, RPG supplies, and more. Our sponsor, Noble Knight Games, using my affiliate link. For our campaign, we use Roll20, and for streaming, I use OBS Studio. I know we've been talking about Tockworth's Clockworks for, I think, a freaking month by now, but we're finally in it. We've got through the kind of interstitial scheme that I wanted to play out, which I'm kind of liking the idea of putting together these like mini event things in between our heist missions. I think it's a nice way of breaking up the action and get a flavor of them actually having this kind of urban campaign, at least up until this point, because starting I guess with Tockworth's, we're going to the Underdark. We're kind of leaving the city behind, at least just for the purpose of this heist mission, and then I think we'll return to another Underdark mission after that. But yeah, we are going to the Underdark, as I teased, with a deep gnome showing up on the doorstep of their agency. I am actually going to be using not the mayor yet. I'm using this character here, Nyx Riddlestone, deep gnome who's on the lookout for adventurers heading to Little Lockford. I'm using her because I figured the mayor would stay with her people, and she would have, delegates to go and actually get help after they have had to flee and seal their own town. And Nyx was one who had just stumbled upon this woke up, I guess, one day with the golden key next to him. I'm still making the whole golden key things like almost supernatural, and nobody really knows like where they come from or how the clients actually get them, basically. And I think I've teased the fact that it's kind of this extra planar, extra worldly organization that the players are actually a part of. And that Mr. Trench kind of plays like he doesn't know what's going on, but I think that might be part of the twist I'll be employing, is that he kind of does know what's going on, but plays kind of dumb about everything. So Nyx is the one to show up. She's got the key. They can talk to her a little bit, although she's not going to really... She doesn't speak common very well, and normally wouldn't want to converse with them, and she'll be very curt and just want them to basically follow her and lead her to the mayor, where the mayor can actually give the full breakdown, which I anticipate will be frustrating for the players. I'm going to try to do it like hopefully more comedic than frustrating. However, as we've determined several times now, half my party can randomly speak Undercommon, which I'm glad I looked up, because I would have been caught a little unawares by that. So I actually am going to have to write a little bit more dialogue for her, but keep her personality intact. I guess she'll be a little bit pleasantly surprised that they can speak Undercommon, but she'll still want them to meet with the mayor, which name is Mayor Braith Broadfoot. And she's the one that's actually a lot more friendly. And, I anticipate that she just has to work with a lot of different races, species, creatures within the Underdark and above dark surfacers. And she's a little more diplomatic and will be able to give the party the full breakdown about what's going on, as well as the fact that, yes, this is a heist, but it's a very unique one, in that the players are not going to be given a chance to do any kind of reconnaissance before they enter the place, which is this whole gnome town, and that this place is basically hostile, unlike the previous two, where it was just a place where people come and visit or whatever. I guess for the museum, they were there after hours, so technically it was a little bit of a hostile area. But this one, it's a town, but it's been completely abandoned and taken over by these Clockwork soldiers. So that's what the party has to deal with through various encounters. And we are going to be relying on which I think I did put in as a description below, by the way, the maps that I'm using. I thought it was Atessa's Presents maps, but it's actually, if you just search, or again, go to that link, for Tockworth's Clockwork DM's pack on the DM's Guild. And that provides some extra maps, which are the maps that I am going to be heavily relying on for this adventure, which I haven't had to rely on a lot of maps so far. We did have to use one of these. I believe this is a Tom Cardos map on Roll20 for the Apothecary map that we used for Eskimo Weird Bottle. But for the actual heist adventures, they came with maps that we've been using. In fact, I think I can safely archive Afterlife Casino. I think we're officially done with that. Click on archive, and then I think we can archive the Apothecary as well. Okay, which takes us to Little Lockford. So we will be using this map, but the heist map is a town map. So we can't really use it for a battle map. So instead, the map that I'm using, the map set, which again is on the DM's Guild, has kind of each of these districts, each of these giant stalagmites, I guess, giant like islands underground rising above lava, as a map. I think it's like about half the region is a map, because I think this is to scale. Let's see. So approximately every 2 squares is 50 feet. So I don't know if it's properly to scale. Hopefully it's to scale. I haven't done the math on that, but I think each area has like about half the region is a usable battle map. So we will be using this map for an overall kind of like, I guess as if we were exploring a lost city or something, you know, when you have like the little party token and you kind of move it around and that tells you where they're at. But then when we actually get to an individual area, then we'll kind of do the zoom in to the closer spot. But before we get to Little Lockford, I do want to have at least one Underdark encounter. I'm going to put the Little Lockford name on the... In fact, I'm tempted to put a lot of these on the map layer because the party is going to get this information, now that I think about it. Let's see, where's the actual heist? Under handouts. That's Verity's map. Player, handouts. Okay. Which I think we're actually putting all the handouts need to be in one. That one's there. Verity's map. Okay, so let's actually move this handout up here. That way they only have one folder that shows all that. And then let's rename it. Mayor Broadfoot's map. Little Lockford. Okay. So yeah, the Mayor Broadfoot map actually, it looks like all of them except Halfway Isle is given a name. So I think we can put, so this is the information they'll have. So yeah, we can put those names on the actual map here. So let's add them to the map layer. To Militia Bulwark, that can be there. Turbine Heights. And in fact, we could even put some annotations on here, or let the players put some annotations to show which areas are important. Smolder Town, Cave Map. And then was the Overlook also? Yep, sure was. Okay, everybody except Halfway Isle is given one. But before they get to Little Lockford and what I think we'll be handling for next session, which is tomorrow, and keep in mind, we're going to level up to 5, so that's going to take a hot second, right? And then we're going to get our initial quest intro, I guess, although I'm going to try to get the players going into the Underdark as quickly as possible so that the actual quest intro can be from the mayor and not from that Nyx character. But they're going to be uncomfortable with that because they're not going to take a mission that they know hardly anything about. And then we can do this Underdark encounter, and then we can actually meet with the mayor and have a proper sit down about their actual mission. But yeah, that's part of the challenge and part of the uncomfortableness is they're just going to give in so little information, and it's already going to be in a very different place. It's going to be a lot different than what they're used to. But I think we won't even actually get to the town of Little Lockford before. I think all of this that I'm setting up basically is going to take up our next session for sure. I still don't have a good art for Nyx though, do I? Shoot. Hello, Tom. I am having a great New Year. Thank you. I'm getting back in it now this week. Kids are back in school. I'm getting back into that schedule. Oh, they had a short week. They didn't go back till Tuesday, so that's always nice. Let's see. Do I use? Yeah, I don't have a token yet for Nyx or for the mayor, and unfortunately those are not provided, I believe. There's really not a lot of, let's see, named NPCs. Yeah, the only one we have is Tixie and Kavoda, who I'm pretty sure is using the generic Deep Gnome art, which we will rely on for somebody at least. Just try searching for Deep Gnome and see what it gives us. I recently found out Prisoner 13 is available for free on D&D Beyond. I was wondering what was your opinion on it. Yeah, I think it's been free for a while, actually. So I did a ranking video for all of the heist adventures in Keys in the Golden Vault soon after it came out, which I think was 2023. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure Prisoner 13 was at the bottom of my list, unfortunately. It's a neat idea to do a heist in a prison, no joke, and it's a really cool prison, but it just has nothing going on. It has very little information. There's nothing I liked about it, basically, unfortunately. and other folks have talked about how much they enjoyed it, so that's just my opinion on it. Obviously, some folks can make some good stuff out of it, but when I look at it and see like what makes this interesting, how much information is there so I can successfully run it, I thought it was by far the weakest of the adventures. Now, I may be a bit biased too because we previously saw Revel's End used in Rime of the Frostbane, which I ran, and I used that location, but I completely changed it even further in our Rime campaign and turned it into like this overrun, like horror place full of these nasty insect creatures that had taken over and killed everybody, and had a more like plugged into my active story as well as one of my player characters. So I changed it quite a bit, even from what it's used for, I guess, in that campaign. But I did not like Prisoner 13 at all, unfortunately, and it's a bummer that that's their free one, because there are so many better heist adventures that are available. Just looking through Roll20's options. I specifically asked for portraits, people. Okay. I just searched Deep Gnome, so that most of these are tokens. No, I didn't. I did search tokens, didn't I? Shoot. Well, he's gonna be useful. Okay, those aren't bad. Token art could be, the actual token could be better. I could use that and turn it into a token. That's not bad right there. This is from MBTB Tokens Volume 4, Number 2, Gnomes Deep. Gnomes, Deep. The main thing I'm looking for is, yeah, that kind of gray skin. Those are some cute gnomes, though. Oh, there's a starter. Yeah, okay. This art definitely has what I picture when I hear Deep Gnome. That one's pretty good. It only has one variety, though. Yeah, I might just keep using this one. Okay. MBTB. Bend over and below. Ha! That's a fun one. Deep Gnome is actual character name. Fortunately, what I need are 2 female Deep Gnome pictures, and then what do I need? And then the one monk guy, which I think is Kavoda here, which you could use the generic art for him. If I needed to. But if I could find unique art for these characters, that would be better. That's the deep gnomes from Out of the Abyss. It's not horrible, but they're all dudes. Okay, I might be able to work with that one, though. Did I make one of the, I did. There it is. Have I done lighting for this one yet? I have not. Damn it. Ah, thought I was supposed to get ahead of this. Alright. That can be the monk guy. He's hiding in the walls or something. Kavoda. And then for... Nope. Oh my gosh, it's a really monstrous gnome. SRD token is not a great token art. Okay, let's go back and use these. Because this had the best female gnome art that I've seen so far. Let's see. Man, there's a ton of options here, too. This is great. Oh, man, I like that one if she didn't have, like, the skull wand. Doesn't really scream mayor to me. That one's pretty good, but I don't want to be super spellcastery. Okay, is there any one of these that's not holding a weapon? Sure doesn't look like it. One's a staff. Oh, because they're all, I see now, they're fighter, druid, gnome. Okay, so they've all got their, like, weapons. Okay, the druid one's not bad. We can work with that. I just don't like the white token art. So we're gonna change this token art real quick. We're going to rolladvantage.com. And we're gonna take this picture. Can I drag it? Maybe not. I'm gonna have to save it from here. This is a different browser. What if I... Shoot, what's the best way to do this? I thought it would be... I thought it could drag on there. Okay, so let's go roll advantage onto here, maybe. Create a new browser window. There we go. The same browser. Maybe that's the problem, is I'm dragging onto a different browser. Nope, you can't. Okay, can I really not drag these out of Roll20? Damn it. Okay. Let's put it on the token layer. And can't save it from there. Folder doesn't work. Do I need to just create a sheet and then add it? This is so dumb. There's gotta be a better way of doing this. Create character sheets. Add you. Okay, now I can do save image as. God, that's annoying. Feels like a very roundabout way of doing this. We're going to add that to. Call it Mayor Braith. Forgot your full name. And then we should be able to drag that. There we go. Okay. Okay. All this to make slightly better freaking token art. Better background color. All right. There. Okay. So download that. Put that under tokens. That is Broadfoot, I think was the name. Okay. So now we don't need that anymore. And we should be able to add this to probably this. Man, it's really windy outside right now, too. I think we're transitioning from 80 degrees to like 50 degrees, and it is doing so with violence. Boom, there we go. There's the custom token that took me way too long to make. Okay, so that can be the mayor. And then for Nyx, she can be a little more rugged looking, a little more fightery. That one's not bad. Cleric image. Cleric might be the winner here. I think it is. And she also looks curt. Okay, so I'll take this, go to edit, move that picture, add the cleric picture. Then we save that image. And you are Nyx. Save that. Now we can do it faster. Nyx, move to this section. Can give you a different color background, perhaps. Slightly. And download you as Nyx. Excellent. And then Nyx can be put, I guess, on this map, but also on the Waterdeep map. There we go. Okay, we've got our tokens. Let's see. Now they say to use the Deep Gnome stat block, I think. Yeah, well, actually, the mayor's a commoner, which is fine. Nyx is just the Deep Gnome, but the Deep Gnome, it is token stamp, yeah, but it's just rolladvantage.com/token stamp. The Deep Gnome stat block doesn't exist anymore, so. But the other option is just to use like a generic scout or something. I think, which seems a lot less interesting versus using that unique Deep Gnome stat block. So what do we think about that? They were added in the... Actually, no, they were straight up in the 2014 Monster Manual. You know what? Does the monster book say like what to use? As I drop the book. Sorry about that. Isn't there a section somewhere that's like, hey, use this instead of this? Somewhere at the beginning? I recall something like that. Let's see. If you read the 2014 version, much of the book will feel familiar. Contains new or redesigned elements. The monsters herein replace versions from older books. Every monster in the 2014 Monster Manual appears in this book or has a CR-appropriate replacement detailed in Appendix B. Okay. Go, Appendix B. Let's find out what they're using instead of the Deep Gnome. Stat block conversions. 2014 Deep Gnome is the Scout. Man, I was right. It is the Scout. That's really lame if you look at the Deep Gnome stat block versus the Scout. Like, really lame. Flipping through. There it is. The Scout just has a multi-attack, short sword, and longbow. The Deep Gnome gets Rocky, Advantage, Stealth, Gnome Cunning built in, which is good. I guess you could give that to a Scout. Innate Spellcasting, where it can cast Blindness, Deafness, Blur, and Disguise Self once per day. Has a War Pick and a Poison Dart that can poison creatures. Like, that's all interesting. Versus the Scout stat block. So, I want to use the new 2024 stuff as much as I can, right? Because that's kind of the whole point behind having all this new stuff, is so to try to use it and see how well it works. But this is an example where we lost some of the flavoring here. The Scout is so generic. I mean, I guess the other option is you could use the Scout as your base stat block. God, it's really windy. Hope I didn't leave anything outside that's going to go flying. And then add the spell. I mean, it's probably not going to matter, honestly. But we are going to get into at least one combat encounter, and I do want her to be a somewhat combatant in, I guess. Yeah. Just add traits to the Scout stat block. It would give her less AC. Better attacks, though, because she would gain multi-attack. I think the to hit is still the same. Although the Scout has worse strength, I guess, because you use finesse weapons and ranged weapons. Just use the 2014 version and bump it. Yeah. It's a shame because it does that for a lot of creatures. That we lose some of their flavoring. Like the Dwergar. The Dwergar is one of my favorite stat blocks from 2014. It's such a fun stat block, and it literally says to replace it with a spy. So generic. That sucks. The Orc just replaces with the Tough. That one's actually probably fine. The Orc wasn't that impressive of a stat block. The Rug of Smothering has been replaced by the animated Rug of Smothering. Thanks, book. Now to figure that one out. Yeah, I think Dwergar and Deep Gnome got the shaft. I wonder if they're going to give us an Underdark splat book at some point then, since we kind of lost some of that. Some of our poor Underdark creatures. A mix of 2014 and 2024 versions. Yeah, which I think is how, my Dragonlance game has used a lot more unique creatures to that book, which are technically the 2014 versions, because obviously that came out before the 2024 book did. So if we want to make her... Let's see. We clearly probably have a Scout stat block here already somewhere. Maybe not. Maybe not, actually. Fascinating. Well, surely they'd be in here. Nope. Wow. No regular scouts in my entire mesh together campaigns. Okay. Well, let's grab one then. That's shocking. So we're gonna take the 2024 Scout. I knew you're in here somewhere. Where the fuck are you? Because it didn't add it. I don't know. It's in here somewhere. Scout. No, we wanna take it and duplicate it though. Where the fuck? Oh, is it in here? There it is. Adventures in Faerun. The one I didn't look for. Alright, so we want to take this. We want to duplicate you. And then we want to move you. Oh, did I lose you? Right there. And put you under creatures for Tockworths, which is going to be here. Move you down. Actually, named NPCs. Perfect. All right. And we need to edit you as Nyx Riddlestone. Man, that art's actually close to not being bad. Close to not being bad. Okay, and we were using the cleric art for that one. And gonna use that as our token. But now we can at least point to Nyx, I think. Nyx exists. I feel like this is the way less fun stuff that I do, which is just the setting things up in Roll20. But I still have to do it. That's part of my prep. I usually try to do this when I'm not streaming, but PC, AC, and then your AC. We'll just give you 24. We'll make you, yeah, we'll give you 24 hit points. Pretty close to max. Okay, I don't care about your vision. I see all. Okay, so now we've got this stat block. And then we can edit it as we need. So, definitely give you advantage, which I don't think is going to come into play. Or can I just add traits? You have no traits. How dare you? Gnome Cunning. Gives us advantage. Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma. Saving throws against magic. And do we still want to give innate spellcasting? I don't know if that would come up necessarily. Do all deep gnomes can do that? And then action-wise, doesn't really make sense that she'd have a longbow. Can I change that to a poison blow dart? Because that would kind of be more fun. Let's see. Do they call that, what am I trying to think of? Not the blowhole. Not the blowpipe. The fuck that they use the, God, I can't remember now. You know what I'm trying to think of. Is it just a dart? Dart is like something you're throwing, though. I feel like that would be more strength-based. I want to give her a ranged weapon. Blow dart? Is that what I'm thinking of? Blow gun. Okay. Sure. Blow gun. Okay. I'm American. I should be able to get gun added to everything. March, because that at least gives some flavor. Instead of a bow, just get a blowgun. Ammunition, 25, 100, loading, mastery, vex. That could be interesting. We could just add the vex thing on top of the attacks for NPCs. Alright, so instead of a longbow... It does one piercing? That's terrible. What a dumb weapon. That is awful damage. Why would you use this? Can I have a blowgun that shoots darts then? What is a dart? I'm flipping through the equipment book for the first time. Yeah, a dart does 1d4. So can it just do 1d4 damage? What does this one do? Yeah, the poison dart did 1d4 plus 2. All right, so let's go. So I'm gonna say blowgun, but it's gonna be a dart basically. Ranged weapon. Oh, the range is not good. On a blowgun, I think it was 31. Let's see. Like, why would you use a blowgun? This is the most worst weapon ever. 25, 100. What's the range? Oops. Lower the damage down to 1d4 plus 2. I think it still has a plus 4 to hit. Actually, no. Scout is... Yeah, Scout's plus 4. Still have a short sword, that's fine. But we can add the poison thing on there. No, I don't want to make her that strong. Paralyzing. Target must succeed on DC 12. Con saving throw be poisoned for 1 minute. Target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each turns if any effect on itself. So that's pretty good. You can do that on a basic attack base. Every time is forced to make a con save. So we can say poison dart blowgun as her attack, and then she also has a short sword. Which is probably good enough. And I think she's already got stealth and perception, so that's good. So yeah. If we click on that, there you go. Poison dart blowgun. 21 to hit. C12 concept be poison, and you can roll damage, which is not that good, but it mainly does the poison effect, which is nice. Alright, good enough, I say. She is a somewhat combatant, but her main skill is not in fighting, it's in knowing the Underdark. And what she will do is lead them through the Underdark to her people. However... Let's say they're going this direction. I'm using one of the Underdark map that's included in that Tockworth's Clockworks DM pack. And she and the others, really, are alerted to some creatures. In fact, it says on here. Yeah, the characters hear the clicks and clacks of hook horrors several minutes before these predators appear and attack. So she will usher everybody into this little side cave here to hide... from these creatures as they kind of prowl around. So the idea here is that it's not necessarily a combat encounter, as the players are designed to hide. Now, I could even have them roll stealth checks collectively, although that would almost guarantee them having a fight, because if you make each character roll a sudden stealth check, chances are somebody's probably going to fail. Good lord. Is that true? The hook horror is a passive perception of 19? That can't be right. What is that? I've never seen one that high. How is that correct? Is that a special ability it had? That's not, there's no way that's right. I'm gonna look this up in the book right now. Something's messed up. I refuse to believe this. Okay, it's still pretty high in the book, 15, but it's not 19. That's got to be a Roll20 error. I've never seen a creature other than maybe like a fucking, I don't know, ancient dragon or something have a passive perception that high. Yeah, blindsight does help with. I mean, in the book it's a 15, so it's still too high here. But yeah, blindsight is pretty damn good. But does that functionally give you a shit ton of passive perception? I guess with the... They do have skill there. So they're particularly good at finding, in other words. So it's going to be real nasty to try to hide from them. My idea here was to have the players be put into this very cramped area. Although somebody might want to try to do something else, like cast invisibility or something, in which case I will let them do that. And then they have to be very quiet while these creatures are out and about. Now, we do have a skill system for that, which is called stealth. But I'm tempted to even hand wave that and just say, hey, here's the situation. You're hiding in this area while these creatures are out prowling around. And it happens to be that you guys are hiding with your backs against this like pit going down, and then coming out of this pit, it's kind of a funny moment where just like you're running from one creature and like you run into another creature, just to showcase how dangerous this place is. And I'm going to attack them with a pair of Grell. Grell? Which they will use their stealth and attempt to surprise the party as well. And we can roll that legitimately in the session and see if they manage to get that off. But I can have them roll stealth as a group and then compare that to the party's passive perception, which is not the most perceptive party, I believe we've checked before. What everybody's passive perception is at, which I do not know how to check on these sheets anymore. Don't think they call it out. Oh wait, that was a different one. This one is... Okay, there it is. So Vero's got a 15. I'm thinking that's probably near the top of what the passive perception... Actually, the monk might have the best passive perception. 15. So, it's not super easy to sneak up on them, but Grells have a +6 to stealth. So that gives them better than a 50% chance, I think, to sneak up on the party. And we can have some of them, I guess, get surprised and some not surprised by that. I think they will be surprised regardless, but then it also depends on if they're able to succeed on their stealth check against the party. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But yeah, the Grell are a lot of fun. This is the 2024 Grells, which I think are mostly the same. But they can make a beak attack and a paralyzing tentacles attack. They only have a +4 to hit. But if they hit you with the tentacles, they do trigger a con save. God, they grapple you automatically, and then the con save is for being poisoned and paralyzed. So that's pretty nice. And then the fun thing here is that the party still has to be quiet because those hook cores are still around, and you know, if they make too much sound, which could be like magic spells or something, for example, like we'll kind of play it by ear, I think, in general, in terms of like using general real world knowledge about how loud people are being. But these creatures are supposed to be like pretty close by, and would technically, between you and me, obviously perceive something the minute these guys make a sound, but I'll try to give them like some leeway, because that makes the fight a hell of a lot harder if we actually involve the hook horrors, because they are, let's see, the Grell are they also CR3? Yep. So a pair of Grell. So I'm doing my patented like combine 2 encounters in one, basically. Almost 3 encounters, because we've got Nyx with them. So there's a D, technically a D12 table, but it's more like a 6 encounters you can run, and literally one of them is 2 Grells drop on the character from above, another one is 3 hook horrors are heard minutes before they appear. I'm reducing that to 2 hook horrors. Actually, I could reduce it just 1 hook horror. Maybe that would be better. Maybe there's hiding from a single nasty hook horror. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take one away. That way, it's not the end of the world if they aggro that one, but it's still scary enough to where you're like, I don't really want to like mess with that creature. I've not rolled hit points for these guys. We can do that. So this one's 77, basically the same. We've got the Grell. I notice if you leave it on whisper, it'll whisper the roll of the hit points. Wow, they're both well below average. Well, one of them's really below average. It's a runt. 42 hit points. Which again, I like creatures that don't actually have a lot of hit points, but they have interesting abilities that can scare the party. That to me always makes for a more interesting combat encounter, I think, overall. So that's my idea for basically my one Underdark combat encounter, because I think we just need the one. Don't forget, casting a spell is not subtle unless you have that meta magic from Sorcerer. Right. So I'm definitely thinking that kind of thing would make sound for sure. That would hopefully the party can just come up with some interesting. I mean, and who is it that can cast silence? The monk, I think, can cast silence somehow. Can he? Is that something he's done? I feel like that's something he's done. Or was it the wizard who cast silence? Wait, why would the monkey be able to cast silence? Okay, the monk has magic missile for some reason. I don't know why I was thinking he can silence things. Is that like a celestial thing, or am I just making this up? For some reason I thought he did that. Or maybe I'm thinking of my Dragonlance campaign where people cast silence. But silence would be great here to cast on the party themselves, actually, which would turn off your spellcasters, but would help you absolutely stay hidden. And I don't think I would require the party to make stealth checks. I think once they're hiding in this area, but maybe I could do... I don't know. I'm honestly kind of on the fence about even using stealth checks for this situation. Surely the wizard has silence. Those are actions. Spells, cantrips. First level, nope, does not have silence. Has silent image, but no silence. Doesn't move. That's fine. They don't need to move. The idea here is that as long as they stay quiet, they won't aggro this creature. It's just kind of patrolling around. Like, it's probably hunting like where they were, maybe. So it's kind of going from where they were going to where they were. So it's going from south to northwest. And she's basically keeping an eye on it and making sure like they stay quiet. And I don't know, I want to do it narratively and not mechanically, if that makes sense. Like, I just want to have that cool moment of like they ran away to hide from this creature, and they're bunkered down, and then all of a sudden from behind this pit that they're hiding next to emerge these creatures, and they have to fight them off, but they still have to be wary about this creature like roaming around out here and possibly getting aggroed. And if they don't care, then I will aggro that creature. And I think having just the one Hokor will make me a lot more willing to do that for sure. But I can add Nyx to the initiative and all that. So after that, I don't think we'll really necessarily use this map either. I think we can... in fact, did I block off? I should block off this one chamber, because we don't need this stone throne mimic thing in case we end up using this map. Z. There we go. So that'll block them off, but that's the way down. And then once they're down there, then they can meet with the mayor. We can drag a bunch of generic deep gnomes. Which, for some reason, do not have marked set up correctly. Do they not? There it is. Okay. That's where they're all stationed. And then this is like right outside. Put a bunch around here. Presumably entrance to the city is like right here. There would be a lot more people, but this is just an approximation. Okay. And then they can meet with the mayor. So that's the only Underdark encounter I'm really interested in doing, I think, is that one, just to soften up their resources and get them into a nice battle situation. I think it does a nice reflection of the Underdark. Yeah, and then we'll meet with the mayor, which is the actual meeting the mayor part, where they will be able to get more context about the adventure in front of them. Tockworth, our security overseer, ordered her clockwork automatons to attack her fellow citizens. Not knowing what else to do, I ordered an evacuation. Little Lockford is our home, and I'm determined to reclaim it. And then she explains that there is... this one does sound like just a generic adventure. I think it's a cool one, but there is a little bit of a heist factor, not necessarily in them sneaking their way into it, although the more they sneak, the more they won't run into enemies. But they do get a map and an objective, which is there's a failsafe device to shut down the automatons in her workshop, which the mayor will point that out on their map, which is located here. And it's, they start in the upper left corner, and of course the failsafe is in the exact opposite of where they start, which I love. That's how I want to do my dungeon designs. Like, give them options, but make sure the thing that they need is far away so they have to interact with other things. I'm probably going to ignore the part about the magic symbol because I don't want to give them that much information. To activate the failsafe, you need a security key that Tockworth keeps in a safe in her workshop. I'm changing that because that's so dumb that the key is kept right next to the failsafe when we can put the key anywhere. And I think the key will be on Tockworth herself. So that will force the party to have to battle her at some point. And I think the mayor would probably mention the fact that the failsafe requires a key, and most likely Tockworth keeps the key on her, and most likely she's found in the main security center, which is located in the Overlook. And in fact, look, I sneeze. Excuse me, I could not mute it fast enough. Oh my! I apologize. I just sneezed all over y'all. Oh my goodness. New mic, not used to it. Yikes. And it says on her map that Tockworth is using the security center as her base. So that'll give them a reason to go there as well. So they'll have two main areas they have to go to, which is the Overlook and then that Smolder Town area in the lower right. So perfect setup, if you ask me. And then she will mention, she doesn't care about if Tockworth lives or dies. She says that she's probably beyond justice at this point. And the adventure even says how you deal with Tockworth is up to you. So the party can finally be given a clean bill of conscience for killing. I think she will mention that there may be still some survivors hidden about. And obviously, if you find anybody, please help them. And then the other thing that she will say, I guess she can explain the bridges and the bucket system, which is the bridges. Let's see if I mentioned this. Yeah, all the bridges can be retracted as a safety measure. Be careful when crossing, very exposed. And then she mentions that some of the bridges that were dashed were at least raised whenever she left. So she says they may be, I guess she can mention they may be different by now. And then the bucket system was still operational, as she can mention. It only goes one direction, the slag line, to transport ore, but big enough to hold a creature. This one says big enough to hold 5 small creatures in each bucket. That seems a little excessive, but unfortunately that's what it says on the map. So I'm tempted to keep it like it is on that one. And then she also mentions that there's some loot in the town hall that the party is welcome to. Some useful items hidden under her desk are free to claim the items for themselves. 4 potions of healing, a packet of dust of disappearance, and 2 flasks of alchemist fire, which all seem like good stuff. So they'll get all that information, they'll get the map, and then they'll basically just be told to go into this city. What was it, that one fucking Snyder movie about zombies where they have to go into the zombie town? I forget the name of it. It's on Netflix. It's not very good, but it kind of reminds me of that, where there's less there's a sealed off dangerous area. Oh, or like Escape from New York or LA, I guess, for better examples. Where the hero is told to have to, like, the rest of the world is fine, but you have to go into this like sealed up town location that's been just completely, overrun and gone to shit, basically. So it's going to be a deadly time, but it's still kind of a heist thing. So those are, man, Escape to New York is such a great fucking movie. And Escape to LA is good too in a different way, I guess. They kind of double down on the cheese factor a little bit. Fantastic movies, though. And then we will get into Little Lockford proper, starting with Old Lockford, which I've had to modify a little bit. I have been writing down like possibilities of where encounters will take place, kind of pre-prepping them, I guess, because that's the main form of complications. And I think that every time they enter a region, every time they exit a building, they have like a 1 in 6 chance. So I'm kind of going with that as like, okay, maybe every 3 things they do, they'll basically trigger an encounter unless they're somehow hanging around trying to find creatures themselves. And I think that exiting the town hall might be a good opportunity for their first encounter if enough of them end up going in here and looting or searching the place, and then you can have a nice encounter with the creatures right outside, which I am looking at using an additional stat block, which is the Clockwork like Enforcer, I think, which is kind of an animated armor, but with some additional abilities to capture and subdue people. In addition to the Defenders, which are more just dog-like attackers, and the Observer, which is a purely like just finds them and like sets off an alarm, which can be kind of interesting if they just see those things are the most prevalent, and then they really do have to use a lot of stealth checks because those things have a passive perception of 16. And I'm picturing like every video game basically where you have like a stealth thing and it's just the creature itself doesn't aggro, but it's like an alarm system that aggroes other creatures, which could be fun. But I know in D&D that every time you threaten a fight and you could end up with a fight, then that does add to the, overall time of the entire adventure. And I don't know how long this one will take. Previous ones have taken a lot longer than I thought, and this one, frankly, has a lot more combat than our previous adventures as well. But I'm going to try to use combat fairly sparingly. It kind of depends on what the players end up doing. Like I said, I think every third areas or about like when they're exiting the town hall, I think is a good opportunity. When they are in the abbey, I think is a good one to have because then the guy can be hiding in there. And then when they're messing around with a power station in Turbine Heights, I think will definitely be a good location for the first like 3 encounters that they have. Or you could trigger the power station like once they activate the power, because I think that'll also be a kind of a sub goal. We to turn the power back on for a lot of these areas. They have the bridge controls, and that'll be a good opportunity for a big wave of Clockworks to come at them at that point. Otherwise, we'll probably have another encounter at the security center. Should definitely be an encounter, and then obviously like the workshop area that they go to there. So it's a big area, but honestly, you only have to do like maybe at most 2/3 of it. You can comfortably skip the entire lower left corner, although it is full of monsters. And if they do decide to take the slagline bucket thing, then I will also have a encounter prepped for that. So thankfully we don't have to prep all of that just yet, because this one, unlike other heists that I've had to do, is more like a dungeon crawl that the party has to slowly make their way through. So I don't have to have absolutely every single part of this completely prepped by the time we enter this area. Instead, I can treat it like a dungeon crawl and just have like this initial Old Lockford area prepped, for example. And then next time, depending on where they go, we can work on Halfway Isle and Turbine Heights and possibly Cave Mouth. I guess if they have some mode of flying, because this is currently disabled to get to the Overlook, I'll have to check on that and see in case somebody can make it to the Overlook. I may need to prep for that as well. So fun stuff. I'm looking forward to this one. And also, this is the actual level 5 adventure. So hopefully don't have to do too many adjustments to creature stat blocks and everything. All right, folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Crafting the Golden Vault. If you enjoy the content, as always, please check out patreon.com/RogueWatson. Shouts to Platinum patrons: Joe, Will, Thomas, Brandon, Genocide, Roleplayer, Roll, Christopher, Big Nut, John, Nathan, Andrew, Stephanie, Jason, These Buds, Warning Mill, C, Tom, the Eating the Dogs, Marcus, Hugo, Sasha, John, Jealous Guy, Zim, Jesse, Dante, About Dominics, Chris, C, Robert, and Chris H. And Gold patrons: RPG, Peppercraft, Spree Boy, and Yuma, Does the Lounge, Jerome, Nathan, Scott, Rippus, Jerry, Glenn, and Mark. Thank you all very much for your support. If you're a patron who's signed up for this week's game, I will see you tonight. Otherwise, I will see everybody tomorrow for more Keys in the Golden Vault.